Dear students, I am Dr. Surendra Sir, Faculty of Sociology, teaching sociology for more than 2 decades. In civils, we at the GSS core are going to bring a series of short videos pertaining to the understanding of syllabus or decoding the syllabus of sociology from paper 1 to paper 2. Along with this, we will also be having the certain kind of videos or some videos in which we will be talking about or we will be picking up certain questions abruptly from the PYQs, previous year questions, and what is the need disposition of the question that will be discussed by us. Today, in the series of these lectures which we are beginning with, I have picked up the first 3 units of the paper 1. And these units which are here in terms of the fundamentals of sociology, unit 1, 2 and 3. Now here when we are talking about unit 1 is basically the beginning of sociology from where your understanding of sociology would develop. So when we are looking at, there are the A, B, C 3 units, sociology is a discipline, and we are talking about modernity and social changes in Europe and emergence of sociology, a scope of the subject in comparison with other social sciences, and then sociology and a common sense. Let me first make you understand that the first 3 units, unit 1, 2 and 3, which is basically interlinked with one another. Now when we are talking about sociology discipline and its emergence in Western Europe, and then when we talk about the second one, sociology is a science, in which we are talking about the science, scientific methods, major theoretical stands of research methods, positivism, its critique, fact, value, objectivity, non-positivist methodology. And similarly, when we talk about the unit 3, that is research methods and analysis, in which we are talking about qualitative, quantitative methods, techniques of data collection, variable sampling, hypothesis, reliability and validity. You do not have to look these 3 units separately. What you need to do, that you need to develop your conceptual understanding, your comfortability with unit 1, 2 and 3 separately, and then you have to interlink with one another. Now when we are looking at this sociology as a discipline, what you should do, that here, look at directly that how sociology has emerged, and that in terms of the modernity, it means the 3 components are there: modernity, social changes and emergence of sociology. So you just pick up what is modernity, like make a very small synopsis that what is modernity, how to view modernity, like modernity could be viewed as a philosophical dimension, modernity could also be viewed as a socio-psychological dimension, modernity could also be viewed as the empirical dimensions which is observed, and then what are the components of modernity. We will be beginning with enlightenment here in the components, industrial revolution, French revolution, contact with other societies, discoveries, innovations, these all are the components. But the moment you say that we talk about enlightenment, then you also need to understand, you need to go a bit back, and you need to understand the timeline of a human thought process. Human thought process seems to be as old as the mankind himself. It is believed that from 2nd and 3rd century BC, such a systematic thinking has started coming out, in which the views of Plato, Aristotle, passing reference. And up to the 12th century, you find about a certain kind of dark ages, medieval ages, and there the perspective of great chain of being which was there. And from the 13th century, we will be finding about how the Renaissance started emerging out. So you begin with the Renaissance, development of natural science, whatever the direction which was provided by Renaissance. This was the question they asked you in 2023 and 24. Modernity and Renaissance and how they have led to the emergence of sociology. So that way I am saying that do not restrict yourself merely to the understanding of the syllabus which is there. Read behind the lines, go behind the lines. So we'll be looking at the moment you started looking from the timeline, you will be finding about that how Renaissance, development of natural science in the 15th and 16th century, and then from 17th, 18th century, you find about the Enlightenment as a critical reaction against tradition and authority. Reason becoming the more important one. One of the greatest scholar of Enlightenment, Immanuel Kant, all right? And that way we'll be talking about the certain. What changes these components have brought? So here we talk about the changes. It means we are basically witnessing about the transition from pre-modern to the modern society. And that's why I always say that sociology emerged as a part and response to modernity, and it also emerged to address the dislocations brought by modernity. So the sequence from Enlightenment to the Renaissance development that goes by, and that way in the new situation brought by the changes due to the modernity, how sociology the discipline emerged out, whatever the conditions, social, cultural, political, economic, historical, intellectual, these conditions would basically be leading to the emergence of sociology. And once you talk about this, make a smaller notes. In a first go when the subject is new, do not be bothered of the scholars. Scholars could be substantiated later on. You first develop your understanding, the structure, the contour of the syllabus. And then if every subject, whenever it has emerged, the relation, what has been its nature, what has been its scope, that way the formalistic synthetic debate will be coming out, and its relationship with other subjects in terms of anthropology, psychology, history, political science, economics, all right? You basically need to focus on the convergence and divergence. Almost every social science, branch of social science, somehow or other will be picking up the certain dimensions to study which would be common to all. So the difference between these different branches of social science is not what they study, rather how they study. So that way a certain kind of perspective, certain kind of methodological, theoretical dimensions will emerge out, on the basis of which we will be talking about certain works which leads to convergence, which leads to divergence, and that way with the other social sciences that relationship would be viewed by us. And let me make it very clear to you, right from the perspective of Renaissance, from the Bacon and others, development of modern science, Enlightenment, reason taking a precedence over religion, we will be finding about that how, right from the beginning of sociology in 1838, sociology emerged on the premise that as the natural scientists are discovering the natural laws to understand the natural phenomena, so should be the responsibilities of the sociologists to discover the social laws to understand the social phenomena. And that way, the moment we have talked about here, sociology and common sense will be coming out, in which we will be talking about positivism, a scientific way of inquiry, scientific method of inquiry, right from the founding father of sociology, Auguste Comte, then to Spencer, to Durkheim, all right. You will be finding about that how what separates sociology from common sense is a scientific nature. Whether any held belief is true or not requires certain kind of empirical research. Pick up certain examples in a common sense, find it out whether true or not, provide your logic, and bring about. What sociology is basically teaching is giving a certain kind of sociological imagination, if I could use C.W. Mills, if I could use Peter Berger, that you need to go behind the facts, all right? You need basically to go beyond taken for the granted reality. And in this very perspective, certain theoretical dimensions will start emerging out, certain passing reference will be there. That way common sense and sociology will be, difference would be there. Once we make a line that what separates sociology from the common sense is a scientific nature, there you would be basically coming to sociology is a science. And let me make it very clear to you. Do not waste your time reading in the books that whether sociology is a science or not. The syllabus is sociology as a science. And I have always said to the students that the debate in sociology is not whether sociology is a science or not. The debate is there in sociology that whether we should apply the methods of natural science or not. Should there be certain specificity of methods of the natural science and social science? And in this very perspective, this has to be talked about from here. It has to be talked about from here. All right. And any subject, any discipline is science or not, that cannot be answered in simple yes or no. And the difference between natural science and the way we have understood the science in terms of physics, chemistry, biology, medical science, mathematics, and the way we have made the distinction between natural and social science. So whether any discipline of social science is science or not, that cannot be. Science is a method. Come from the word scientia. And in this very perspective, I once again say the debate is not whether sociology is a science or not. The debate is on the specificity of methods of natural science and social science. In a very simple sentence, those who will be favoring the methods of the natural science are the positivists. And those who say no, there must be certain specificity, because the social science studies something different from the natural science. They will be the non-positivist one. This unit, which is A, B, C, D, E, is not to be prepared like this. This is one unit. Sociology is a science, and there are the different angles to approach this unit. All right? And the difference between natural and social science is more of a degree, not of a kind. And then you try to find out that on what basis a discipline could be a science. Empiricism, logicality, causality, experimentation, testification, all right, theoretical orientation. So the moment you prepare in this manner, you will be finding about this. And in a major theoretical strands of research, when you are new, you just only believe into macro, micro, social, society as a whole, individual. So functionalism, conflict, they will be the macro one. Interpretivism, symbolic interactionism, phenomenology, ethnomethodology, all right, dermatology, they all would be the micro one. So these are right from functionalism to ethnomethodology. This way the questions that they have started asking the questions on ethnomethodology, dermatology. They have asked the questions on phenomenology. So this is from here. So make it a list in terms of what are the things macro and micro. Look at one or two. You talk about interpretism, symbolic interactionism, all right, phenomenology, ethnomethodology, dermatology. Go through this. Make a synopsis. Whenever you do, whenever you read, make a synopsis like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that the comparative analysis could be done. So the theoretical would be done. And then positivism, how positivism emerged at the particular juncture of human evolution of human society or evolution of human society. And then you talk about what positivism is, what are the basic traits of positivism, what strength positivism has brought. All right? How positivism separated sociology from philosophy and psychology or the other branches of humanities and social sciences. What a specificity it brought. And then you talk about the critic. So you talk about Marx, you talk about Weber. And I quote 2 lines better of Weber. I'm sorry. You quote 2 lines of Weber. That sociology to become science does not need to be positivistic in orientation. And even if sociology is not positivistic, objectivity does not prelude it, unquote. All this micro would be non-positivist. Marxism would be critic that what is the purpose of method? Is the purpose of method is to repeat the things which is already known? No, the purpose of method is to eradicate the self-doubt, self-delusion. Hence the purpose of method is negative, within which the dialectical method will emerge out. Alright, that's why I am saying, if you talk about positivism, it's critic, you will also be talking about non-positivist one. So this unit is not to be prepared in terms of A, B, C, D, E. This unit has to be prepared as a one, this is sociology as a science. Along with this critic and the base of criticism and the debate on positivism, non-positivism would also be talking about the debate on facts versus value dichotomy. The debate would also be there in terms of whether sociology would be value free. So you are finding so many questions, is sociology value free science? Can value free sociology be possible? Alright. This debate will also be involving the same debate between the positivism and non-positivism. So your unit 2, unit 1, unit 3 or any unit, you should not be going through A, B, C, D, E, F, no. You just talk about sociology as a science or socio as a science and divide this like this. That whether it is a science, how? What was the debate all about? Which were the major theoretical perspectives emerged out in the debate? Can a non-positivist be a scientific? Such kind of debates are coming dear, such kind of questions are coming. So open up the dimensions and also anticipate the questions. I always say PYQs will making you comfortable that whatever you have understood, however you have approached the unit, whether that would be helpful or not. But you need to come to the level of your preparation where you would be able to anticipate. And that would be there when you have opened up the dimensions. Once you have opened up the dimensions, you will find about this is the question which came this year, which is the question this came here. From here the question has not been asked. And in this way you need to talk about. So this facts and value, objectivity, it is as it is without being biased. Alright. Facts and value dichotomy in positivism, non-positivism. You also talk about in terms of anti-minotaur, Albin Goldeners. Alright. So as in the mythical minotaur, bull and man cannot be separated, so in sociology facts and value cannot be separated. I don't know whether you have come across this line of Anthony Giddens or not, that all those who are waiting for the Newton to arrive in sociology, they are not only waiting at the wrong station, but they are also waiting for the train which will not come. Pick up all this. This will be there in a critic, this will be there in a facts and value, this will be there in terms of non-positivist. So you first focus here, this one, and in a major theoretical one, these three would be involved. And the debate whether they are science or not. Alright? And once you have done this one dear, then research method comes out. A tentative idea or a very elementary idea of the certain theoretical dimensions, their methodological approach would be there with the unit 2. Who are the sociologists who seems to be influenced by the Enlightenment, Renaissance and others, and what were the certain kind of item they picked up, that was a unit 1. Once you have done it, you are linking it. And the debate between positivism and non-positivism would also be leading to एक लाइन में मैं बहुत simple, in a very simple sentence if I say, those who basically tried to apply the methods of natural science focused on quantitative methods. Those who say no, there is a limitation of the quantitative. The subject matter of sociology is different from that of the natural science, that is the matter. Alright? So we need the different kind of methods. They would be focusing on qualitative methods. And let me make one very clear dimension here. While talking about the methods, either we prepare a quantitative method, these are the certain points, these are the qualitative points. No. There are many types, they are not to be viewed as a poles apart, not as an opposite to one another. There are many times in the research where quantitative, qualitative methods are used simultaneously in a combined manner. That is called mixed technique. This was the question they asked you. Go deep. Try to go behind the lines. And sometimes I always say that give this extra 5 or 10 minutes to understand the syllabus and the essence of it by going behind the lines in a better manner. And why to talk about qualitative, quantitative merely as a method? In a quantitative, qualitative one, we have made the difference through the tabular kind of perspective. The debate has also moved to the philosophical dimension, in which the moment you talk about the philosophical, combine these two would be mixed research. So that way the question has come out. And philosophical in terms of epistemological, this question was there. But this is one question. The debate has also been there in terms of ontological. Alright? How do we know about the nature of knowledge? About the things which are talking, what is the nature of that knowledge? Epistemological. In which interpretivism that we did in unit 2 in a micro macro. And how do we know about the thing? Alright? How we come to know about the things? That is called ontological. The point which I am saying, if the UPSC has asked you in a PYQ epistemological, can we not imagine, can we not anticipate that the question could be there from the ontological perspective as well? And in which you need to basically talk about realism, idealism, materialism. Look me dear, in the unit 4, the heart and soul of your syllabus, sociological thinkers. Once you have done it well, this will be understood. And the way we have talked about positivism, interpretism in terms of Durkheim and Weber particularly, similar kind of perspective there in Durkheim, Weber and Marx. And then everything in terms of what are the techniques of data collection, like observation, participant observation, non-participant observation, quasi-participant one, interview, questionnaire, schedule, survey, biographies, ethnography, alright, life histories, case studies. Sometimes they are asking the content analysis, alright, historical methods. So they are asking the questions on biography. So do it in terms of primary and secondary data collection. Jog it down, whatever comes out, prepare the notes. And same quantitative, qualitative debate has to be followed in terms of these variables, sampling, hypothesis, reliability and validity. Alright. So what is the research procedure? What are the research methods? You go on that direction and talk about this one. Once again I am saying, do not take unit 1, 2 and 3 as a separately one. Prepare separately. But once you have done it, try to find out the interlinkages between them, the interrelationship between them, and where you would be talking about common sense and sociology, sociology the science will begin. The debate on sociology the science would be making you to understand positivism and non-positivism, and this same debate of positivism and non-positivism would be making you to move to the unit 3 in terms of qualitative and quantitative kind of perspective. This way your preparation should be done. This way the questions has to be approached, but in the going behind the lines, not only restricted to the lines, come to the level of anticipation, and that way I said these are the certain perspective within which the anticipation will come out. And whatever the units which I'll pick up in the series of lectures, we'll also be talking about the certain questions, right, from the unit 1, 2 and 3. So another video where I'll pick up 2 or 3 questions and I'll let you know that what this question required and why this question came out. Many a times we do not try to go to the context of the question, alright. We are more concerned of the data. No, you need to understand the difference and the overlapping between the context and a content. That complementarity has to be understood by you. Why this question came out, what was the context of the question, what are the content required in this question, and the moment you have come to this level, believe me beta, your answers should be up to the mark and you will be fetching more marks than desired one. 300, approaching 300 or 300 plus is not a distant reality in sociology. It has been done and you could do it, this one. Alright? Go deep into the analysis of the syllabus. Alright? I'll pick up, once again I'm saying, I'll picking up the series of this where I'll be decoding the syllabus from paper 1 to paper 2. And with every decoding after this one will be followed by the 2 or 3 questions and the discussion that what this question required in part of you. Alright? Thank you.